Did you know there is a civilization in Africa older than Egypt whose pyramids outnumber the famous ones at Giza? This is the story of the Nubians, an ancient people now facing extinction. The Nubians are one of Africa's oldest and most powerful civilizations. Their kingdom, Nubia, stretched along the southern Nile, covering parts of present-day Egypt and Sudan. Their empire existed as far back as 3500 BCE, making it one of the world's earliest civilizations. For thousands of years, they were a center of wealth, culture, and influence within this region. Controlling trade routes along the Nile, Nubian traders sold gold, exotic animals, and ivory, connecting Africa to the Middle East. This made Nubia an important economic power in ancient times, and with their hairy mighty army, they oversaw vast territories along the Nile. Due to this, their art, architecture, and even their language helped shape the history of the Nile Valley. Most people know about Egypt and its pyramids, but did you know that the Nubians built over 200 pyramids, more than Egypt ever did? Though many remained hidden from the world, their civilization stood tall, side by side with their northern neighbors, sometimes as rivals and at times as allies. At the heart of Nubian life was a deep connection to the Nile, the river they called the giver of life. The Nubians had their own gods and spiritual practices, separate from the Egyptians, yet deeply intertwined with the forces of nature. They worshipped Amun, the god of creation, and were skilled in interpreting the will of the gods through their priests. Nubian art was vibrant, filled with rich colors and symbols of life, fertility, and power. Nubians were also known for their incredible craftsmanship, producing fine pottery, jewelry, and weapons. Their kings and queens wore intricate gold jewelry, displaying their wealth and influence across Africa. But Nubia wasn't just about grandeur. It was a place where people lived in harmony with the land, where oral traditions and stories passed down lessons of life, much like many African communities do today. One of the most powerful chapters in Nubian history came when the Nubian ruled over Egypt itself, during what is known as the 25th dynasty, from approximately 747 BCE to 656 BCE. Nubian pharaohs, called the Black Pharaohs, took control of Egypt, and they ruled as far as the Mediterranean. These kings brought peace, prosperity, and a rival traditional values to Egypt. Despite their power, Nubia's influence began to decline as outside forces grew stronger. With the invasion of Egypt by the Assyrians in 671 BCE, Nubians were forced to retreat, and over time, the rise of other empires and internal conflict weakened the Nubian kingdom. The final blow came with the spread of Christianity and later Islam, which led to changes in religious practices and cultural identity within its people. By the time European colonizers withdrew the borders of Africa in the late 19th century, Nubia had already slipped into the shadows of history. But while their political power diminished, Nubians never lost their sense of identity, holding on to their traditions and ways of life. In the 1960s, the Nubians faced another disaster, this time not from invasion but from modernization. The Egyptian government built the Aswani Haidam, a massive structure designed to harness the Nile's power for electricity and irrigation. But in doing so, entire Nubian villages were submerged under the rising waters of Lake Nasser. Over 100,000 Nubians were displaced, and forced to leave the lands of their ancestors. Homes, monuments, and ancient burial grounds were drowned beneath the water, and with them, a deep connection to their past. The physical and cultural scars left by this event are still felt today. Despite these challenges, the Nubian people are not giving up. Today, Nubians are fighting to make sure their story isn't forgotten. These once great people may have reduced in number, but they certainly have left a mark on the world that cannot be erased. Some of their ancient monuments continue to be discovered and have even been recognized by UNESCO as World Heritage Sites. The story of the Nubians is a reminder that Africa's history is deep, complex, and worth preserving. As we move forward, we must remember our past and protect the cultures that shaped us. To help preserve Africa's history, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to PIHOA Network. Thank you.